Yeah, welcome from our side. We like to present our first contribution, and we are extremely proud of it. So to say, we joined 2 days ago, and now we have the first contribution, Edgar. But let's start with a short introduction. I'm Stefan Schumacher. I'm part of Christian Hort's team, and I'm responsible for strategy and portfolio. Edgar?
Yep. Hello. Hello. I'm Edgar Hindemith. I'm one of the developers who was developing some years ago this ambient light service that we want to contribute now.
Yeah.
That is.
Okay. So that's it. Before we dig into the project, and this is my part, I'll give a little bit of a context of why we picked this specific project. And I like to start with a slide which is very similar to what Christian presented. So, I mean, we have a portfolio and offering which is directly linked to the Eclipse parts of the working group, so with org, with devs, and with Edge. And we looked at it, and as Christian said, this is just a starting point. There's more to come in our portfolio for sure. The question is, what is the right piece of that to contribute the first time? And I'm so happy that Tom mentioned this SDV dot applications, and also Philippe was talking about applications, because this is giving me the feedback that we did something right, because if you look at what ambient light services is, it's an application type of contribution. It sits somehow on top of the software-defined vehicle stack that is that the other projects are about today, and we hope that it will foster the integration and the building the bridges, how Michael said, building bridges between the several projects. And we think that interfaces can be forced, and we are paving the way for other applications to come in. And there was also this example of my wife wants to experience what software-defined vehicle is. I think what can be better than ambient light? So you can also feel and touch the software-defined vehicle. So this was our basic thinking. So not doing something like the other projects, like sitting somewhere at the edge of the edge in the application area. And for sure, this is the first contribution that we are bringing in here. It will definitely not be the last. We are already looking at other pieces. Joa is a little bit giving a perspective on this, and we are, as said, happy to be here. With this, I'd like to hand over to Edgar to give you the real details about the project. Edgar.
Yeah, hello. What is the ambient light? You may ask yourself, what does it do? First of all, some years ago somebody said the light of the car is the new chrome. It gives a kind of personality to the car. So we decided to make this animations for the car to give the car an individual footprint, and then we decided to do it as a real in-car software development for the AutoSAR classic system. Therefore, you may ask, what is that useful in the SDV, in the software-defined vehicle? I think you can use it as a blueprint how software for a car, for real in-car software, might be built. It has to have some code quality. It has to be developed according to defined processes like ASPICE, we have to follow code guidelines like MISRA. We have to have a high requirement coverage, and we have to have a high code testing coverage, and all these things are given in this code we want to contribute now. So it can be used as a blueprint for other projects, and it can be used as a testing object with other software parts in the car and also outside of the car. The software itself calculates the current status of the car, because we are not in the safety relevant area. So the light animation can be done only when the car stands still, engine is off. Then we are allowed to do some light animations with the outside light and also with the inside light. And so this software calculates the status based on several input signals, like door open, door closed, driver sitting on a seat or not, or clamp 15 on or off. And it provides then, calculated from that, it provides output signals that will make up the animation in the end. It's color, its brightness, motion commands. We can use motion for headlights that can move, or for matrix headlights, and so on. And to make this usable, we have a data set that contains predefined animation scenarios. And these predefined animation scenarios inside of that data set are, for now, the leaving home, the coming home, and an anti-theft warning. The leaving home is an animation that will start when the driver comes to his car and unlocks the doors. Then the car sends kind of hello to the car, to the driver. And now the driver knows my car is woken up. And the same for the coming home. When the driver comes home, leaves his car, the car can say goodbye with his lights, with its lights. It's not a person, with its lights. And anti-theft warning can be also supported when there is an alert of a car intrusion. Then this animation scenario can support this warning level. And on top of this, we also have the possibility to create our own animations with an additional editor that makes it handy to create custom or individual animations. So, how is this working? Inside, it's as I told before, it's an AutoSAR software component that is on top of the RTE, of the AutoSAR runtime environment. That is an abstraction level on top of the basic software of AutoSAR, which abstracts all CAN messages to input or output signals in this case. And hello? Am I audible?
No, no, I think. Can you hear Edgar? Yeah, okay.
Let's change it.
It's a little bit funny. If you're here, you're not sure if you can hear us.
This AutoSAR communication stack maps the signals from the CAN messages to messages through RTE. Giving inputs to the software library, and each event that the software generates will be sent as a CAN message back to the CAN bus. And on the CAN bus there are other controllers then, and this controller, they will receive these messages or send their own messages, so we are part of a communication network inside of the car. And we can define our partners there with in AutoSAR terms with the so-called AutoSAR XML, and this AutoSAR XML gives us lets us define our partners, the signals we want to receive and the signals we want to send, and the ports and interfaces we want to use. But our library is also running on a very small constrained device, and we decided to wrap this AutoSAR layer into a standard C structure. So you can use this on your own controller without having an AutoSAR stack running there. And you don't need to use the AutoSAR XML. All signals we want to use are just simple read and write operations to that structure. So we made it running on a very small ARM controller, and you could use this then with your own code around. For example, if you want to, instead of a car, you want maybe to illuminate your house or your Christmas tree. It's not a problem because all the AutoSAR specific things are wrapped to that C structure. And through that C structure, you also have the access to the animation data set, which you could flash through the. Normally you could flash it through the AutoSAR functions, but you can also use our structure to send this data to the flash memory there. And to build a new animation, we also contribute a small editor that is web-based. It has a small Python script around and some JavaScript, and you can just build on base of a starting project file. You can build your own animations that are based on one defined event. You have several scenes. Each of the scene is a sequence of several simple animations defined by color and brightness, ramps and This can be some can be in parallel, some can be in sequence, joined together. And finally, you can write that new animation then to your binary data set that you can upload into the flash memory. That's it.
So it's a great tool to build your own discotheque in the car, yeah? So this is what I get out of it. Yeah, so this was the presentation of the ambient light services. I think a very smart application that can be used to test out the environment and the other projects and can build the foundation for other applications.
Great, thank you. Applause. Any questions from the audience? Yeah, just go to the microphone, let the online participants, it's over here, over there.
Heavy exercise.
A quick question. If I understand the application correctly, the way that you control the lights is with normal communications with CAN. You are not using any kind of... If I understand the application correctly, you are talking to the rest of the vehicle using normal mode CAN communications, correct? There is not a higher abstraction layer. There is not a higher abstraction layer in how you talk to the car.
No, the abstraction layer is the RTE interface.
This sound makes me nervous. Really clear. I'm not sure that will be a fire alarm.
Yeah, that's okay. You bring the fire alarm with you.
Yeah, most likely. Any other questions? Paulina, do we have online questions? I would have a question, and I have an advantage. I don't need to walk with the microphone. What quality does your code have? Are we already talking about more or less serious development code? Is that R&D code? So what, as soon as you would contribute this one, on what level? So we target, at the end of the day, I think in 3 to 5 years from now, we can call ourselves successful if we end up in the car. So the quality and the processes around the code development are important, I think, even for all the projects we will see in the future. So that sounds as it could be quite mature, and I wonder how mature it is.
It's ready to be implemented directly to a car. The car just needs to have the signals we have there. If you adopt the signals to an existing car, you can directly run it. It's major code. It's with the required quality of code. It's developed for AutoSAR, for the AutoSAR classic system, and it's also developed according to ASPICE.
Which brings me to my second question. There's no other questions? Oh, Ansgar, you need to go to the microphone, even as a steering committee member.
So I'd like to understand, thanks first of all for the presentation. I'd like to understand, you already mentioned, Edgar, in our chat before that you somehow wrapped that application so it's not dependent to AutoSAR but works with AutoSAR. I wonder how much effort would it be to, for example, bring it so you're using RMXML, so how much effort would it be to bring it, for example, making use of the DTTL thing which Philippe just mentioned, or leveraging VSS standards, which is another abstraction which we are using in several projects, so porting it to those standards we already have in some of our projects.
I didn't understand everything, but we have this ready for some signals on top of the RTE level. And we made a wrapper around that you can just reflect those signals in a standard C structure. And you just write and read to or from that structure. And if you want to integrate that to a real car. You just need to have the right signaling there. So you need an RxML, and you need to know the signals of the car. You need to know the controllers you want to talk to. But this on this level, it would be ready if the car is exactly matching the signals that are defined there.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. I would have had roughly the same question. And maybe as a comment, so now we have an AUTOSAR adaptive reference application. We have more, if I understand this right, an AUTOSAR classic application. We have part of the AUTOSAR stack, which is the some IP implementation, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. So, and as you may be aware, we are in discussion with AUTOSAR. So for sure, and that's what we all tell, we are not starting on a greenfield. We have all these other technologies out there, and we have ongoing discussion with them how we would be able to use them in an open source scenario. So AUTOSAR, the results are only available for AUTOSAR members as of today, but there is this opening strategy which has been already communicated by the AUTOSAR steering committee. And I just yesterday met Renat Asmus, right, who is the chair of AUTOSAR, and we strongly believe that the approach being able to use AUTOSAR within an open source project is something which is valuable to look for. And I'm quite happy to have another connection point to AUTOSAR, because only if we are relevant, we will get all the attention on the AUTOSAR side, which is a 20 years old organization compared to a 6 months old organization, to discuss and come to conclusions. Any other questions in the meantime? Otherwise, I would like to say thank you to Stefan, Edgar.